Welcome to the introduction of on spatial sound. Again, we're going to do a little bit of an overview on the mindset on spatial sound, and then we will have a lot of time for Q&A. This is your opportunity to ask questions regarding everything in VR, not necessarily spatial sound specifically. And yeah, I would love to answer your questions, and we will end up with a promo code. A little bit about myself before we start. Let's see if this is working. No, I really hope that you guys see this. So my name is Nir. I've been working in VR for about 4 years now. I started at JauntVR doing VFX and spatial sound design, and then I continued to working with making 360. And I directed for DreamworksTV. This is one of their projects, and for Oxygen Network, all 360 content, kind of promotional stuff. This one footage that you see right now is from the investigative 360 videos I did with Oxygen. This is from a spatial sound music video I developed called Fuckboy. It's explicit, but very, very fun to check out. It's all with audio reactive assets all around. Then I competed in Oculus Launchpad developing an interactive murder mystery in VR, which will be available in the Oculus store this month. So also pretty worth checking out. We have promo codes for that as well. You can email me. And lastly, I'm currently working on a full feature in VR called The Haunted Ride, which will get out this summer. Yeah, a lot of pretty innovative stuff. I really hope that you all saw the stuff. Great. I believe that working in VR really demands you to think of outside the box, learning new things, being innovative. So this is kind of what took me to learn a lot of those skills. I started as a filmmaker, as an editor, and slid into VR and into sound design as well from there. I'm saying all that to say a few things. First of all, to encourage you to go out and learn new skills for VR because it is a necessity. And also to say that the whole course is built so anyone, even if you've never touched a DAW station, if you're new to sound engineering, you will be able to get around and get the work done. So this is important. Okay, so let's talk about the course subjects. We'll start with understanding spatial sound. Some of the basic elements that you need to know in order to get the work done, in order to understand the world. And then secondly, very important, we'll talk about how to think on set. Everything that you learned in film school is kind of unapplicable when you're talking about virtual reality production. So how to think on set, how to record sound on set. And then we will talk a little bit about editing and mixing 3D audio, what platforms are available. In the course itself, I would say 70% of the course is, it's exactly that, how to edit, how to process the sound, export, get the work on the best way possible. And fourth is work methods and becoming a pro. Because I think that a really main thing about spatial sound, especially right now, is that we're lacking the work methods. It's all very new. It's all so kind of like the mindset of how do we work and how do we achieve the work. So let's start with why audio for VR is different. So first of all, movement. Same in VR as you see with the visual. When you have the headset on you and you're looking all around, you see exactly what's in front of you. Same with spatial sound. If someone is speaking to me from my right, I will hear him from my right. And if I'm turning around, I will hear him from my left. In addition to that, in visual, you see only what's in front of you, but in sound, you hear what's all around you. So it's very important for VR directing, especially if I want to direct the attention behind me, I'm looking behind, and all sorts of things like that. And touching a little bit about what's the difference between spatial sound and surround sound. So surround sound is for cinema. Surround sound was born when we're talking about cinema and movies, like 5-channel, behind, and all that. Spatial sound is specific formats that gives the headset information regarding where the audio is located. Talking about capabilities, so currently Facebook and YouTube are supporting spatial sound. They're the main distributors for spatial sound. You also have VR and Little Star, which are like smaller VR distribution channels. But I would say that it's mainly applicable for the headset, meaning people in the headsets that are wanting to watch cinematic VR in the highest quality. This is what spatial sound is kind of for currently. But when we're talking about the potential is giant. Think about Lemonade, Beyonce's visual album in VR, how exciting that will be. Think about what it can do to music. Think about how we interact with music when it's spatialized. You have companies like Envelope, which have the satellite, which is basically they're bringing into parties like 8 pillars of speakers, and then you have a party inside. So it's kind of changing how we are thinking and how we're interacting with sound, which is super exciting. But again, it's kind of like far future. And what do we do here and now to achieve the work done, which is kind of related. So keep that in mind. Let's talk about understanding spatial sound. So in spatial sound, we have 2 main components. We have the audio channels, which also known as the order, and we have the audio format, which it's the way that the audio channels are being written. For example, we have FUMA and Ambisonic, which are both distribution formats for spatial sound, and they're containing data which called HRTF, which position the audio channels in space, so the video player will know how. I hope that everyone hears me. I think there's someone who can't hear me. Yes, okay, everyone can hear me. Thank you so much. So audio channels and distribution. So we have, for example, quad binaural, which is more for recording. So it's something to keep in mind, and it's something that we will go deeper in with the course. But for example, Facebook and YouTube are supporting Ambisonic audio format, but Facebook supports 8 channels, which is second order, and YouTube supports first order, which is 4 channels of audio. It has some changing in the quality, but it also has some change in the directionality, meaning with 4 audios of channel, I will hear it more directional than 8 channels of audio. So 8 channels will be a little bit more natural. All of that is important to know mainly on the distribution. And so you will know that if you're uploading an encoder that is a video that is encoded for YouTube to Facebook, it will not work. And all sorts of also if you are playing a video that is spatialized in YouTube without earphones, it might sound weird. So all those things we need to put into consideration when we're coming into creating spatial sound. Okay. How to think on set. This is something that I think it's very important. Here we have Steven Spielberg, and he's standing on his chair, and we have these smiley faces are the actors. I kind of wanted to move them around, but we're not going to move them around in this presentation. And traditionally in film, we had two main tools. We had the boom and we had lav mics, which are clipping on the actor's clothing. We can't really use both of them in VR because with the boom, you would have the sound person and then we would have to composite it out. Yes, it's definitely possible to composite out the director and the sound person and gaffing. I would not recommend that because you're adding a lot of work in post, which is also kind of complicated. So you are risking not having your panorama looking perfect. And also lavaliers are having a higher chance of being seen. And also, if let's say that I have a lavalier and I'm in a 360 set and I'm moving around, then later in post, I would need to take that audio channel and move it around as well, which is obviously possible. But A, you're adding more complications, and B, you're adding a risk that it might sound buggy. So how do we work on a spatial sound set? I want to introduce you some of our tools. So first of all, these are the two spatial sound recorders that we will focus on the course. There are a few available on the market. These are the most common one. The 8-ball, I will say that is the most professional spatialized sound recorder. Someone asked over here, what is the favorite? Oh no, that's a video platform. Never mind, we'll talk about it later. But when we're talking about audio recorder, the 8-ball is probably the most professional one. And also, anyone who's registered for the course get a $500 discount from Here 360, which is really great. The 8-ball is a quad binaural sound recorder, meaning that you have two audios of channel to each direction. And if you're looking at this recorder, you see that you have two audios of channel to each direction. A Zoom H2N is an ambisonic 4-channel recorder. Is giving a really, really high quality for a very low price. Do you ever like to use? So when we're talking about binaural mics, the binaural mics is more, binaural sound recorder is more of a higher quality to record on. And then when you bring it into the downstation, you mix with that and then you have a higher quality and distribution. Almost every time happens in ambisonic. I will get back to it later, but I want to kind of like go back to how do we think about a spatialized sound set. So here is a 360 set, and I have my 360 camera, and I have people around. So I'm going to take a spatial sound recorder like the Zoom, or like the 8-ball, and I will put it underneath the camera. Now, it's important to understand that your work is not done the moment that you put a spatial sound recorder underneath the camera, because it's going to record all the sound around you in the same volume level. Meaning that if you have a noise behind you and a dialogue in front of you, they will be in the same audio level. So it's good to have it as a base. But then if you have a dialogue, or if you have you need to have more sound recorders on top of them. So we can use what we call a spot recorder, which can be the Zoom H2N, can be any sound recorder. It can also be your iPhone, which is recording on a very high level, by the way. I mean, recording on a decent level to work with. And then I will hide those spot recorders within the panorama. Let's say here we have this setting over here. So let's say that I'm in the beach and we have a scene on the beach, and we have a 360 camera over here. We will have the 8-ball underneath it, and we have a dialogue over here. So I will hide a spot recorder in the bag, so I don't need to composite it after. And then I will have a clear pickup of these people. If I have a lot of actors moving around, so I would want to put spot recorders all around where they are going. And then later in post, I will position that sound in the location where it stands. A lot of time on set, I would actually go to the spot recorder and say, like, this spot recorder is in the bag, in order to later in post know where to put it easily. Lavaliers. do we use lavaliers on a spatial sound set? Yes, only if it's very windy, and only if it's kind of, you need to be careful to hide it, because if the actor is turning around, you will see the lavalier behind them. And I would encourage having the actor not moving if you have a lavalier on them and you need a clear pickup, or if they are moving and they're moving a lot and you need that. So know that in post-production, it might be tricky to position them exactly on the location. Now, another tip, let's say that we're on the beach over here. So after I'm finishing filming my scene, I will take a sound recorder. Again, it can be your phone, it can be the Zoom, and I will record some sound waves. Maybe I will later go and download some seagull sounds, and I will automate it and kind of like composite it within my sound field later to make the place feel more real. We have a lot of those demonstrations within the course, but I do want you to understand the mindset that a lot of times when I'm coming into a VR set, so the important thing is to have the pickup of the actors, but then you can fake the scenery pretty easily and make it feel very real. We will talk about that later. I'm gonna pause a little bit to see if there's any questions. Would you use the Zoom H2N on spatial mode or stereo? I will use it on spatial mode. It will record on 3 audios of channel and not 4. You will have one silent because it's not recording the top and bottom, I think. But it's a very high quality, and you just switch it to 4 channels and you can insert it pretty quickly. Distance between the camera and the mic. If it's a sound recorder, if it's a spatial sound recorder, most of them are kind of like sitting underneath it, or the Zoom H2N sits above it, and that's kind of it. Regarding other spot mics and stuff like that, it's not really matter because you composite it and you put it inside the software after. I will move on and I will get back to questions right after. So let's talk about editing spatial sound. So when we're talking about editing spatial sound, we have 2 main plugin softwares. We have the main one is Facebook 360 Workstation. Facebook purchased the technology, acquired technology from a company called Two Big Ears in 2016 and released it for free. So musicians and filmmakers just like you can join us and experiment with this medium. So it's really, really awesome that it's for free. And we also have the Here 360, which again, this is the company that are making the 8-ball, which is this microphone, which considered to be the highest quality of spatial sound. Samsung is working a lot with them. They're really, really nice as well. I would say the main difference between Here 360 and Facebook 360 is that Here 360, if you are a sound engineer, it will feel more familiar. Facebook 360 is kind of more designed that anyone can jump in and start working with it. I do say that like their library and things online to learn for are very lacking of content, which is exactly why we did this course. You can work on Reaper and Pro Tools, Nuendo, and Premiere. We'll talk about it in a second, but Reaper you can download and experiment with. Eventually, they would ask you to pay $60 for, but you don't have to. You kind of like, it's more of a donation based. And it's a really, really great and straightforward way to start working. So I recommend Reaper. I'm personally working with Reaper. Pro Tools, it's a little bit more sound engineer heavy, and the entry cost is a bit more to it. But again, Facebook is supporting both. Here 360 is supporting both Reaper and Pro Tools, does not support Nuendo. I do want to talk a little bit about Premiere. So yes, Premiere is supporting ambisonic sequences, and when you will install Facebook 360, you will see some plugins in Premiere. However, Premiere only supports exporting on 4 channels of audio, means that if you are mixing in Premiere, you can't upload to Facebook, which is a bit of a downer. And also, it's kind of like a limited workflow. So, I mean, obviously you have to edit in Premiere. So there is a process of importing all of your sound into Premiere. But let's say that I recorded with the 8-ball, which is 8 channels of audio, and I have my sequence, and then I really want to have a professional mix to end to put with my video. So I need to go to a downstation, whether if it's Reaper or Pro Tools. So the migrating from Premiere to Reaper and Pro Tools, it's a bit of a process. We have videos about that in the course. But yeah, it's something to put in mind mainly. When you are working in Premiere, you're not going to export. You can export in Premiere, but like probably keep it as stereo and not spatialized sound, because you're going to run into troubles. So... oh, where did I jump somewhere? Where's the presentation? Cool. Just to finish up, I'm not going to get into it right now. I got into it a little bit, but in the course, you will find a lot of demonstrations regarding what do we do with a moving shot, for example, because when you're doing 3D animation, you can put the camera inside a 3D space and move the camera. In spatial sound, you can't, meaning you move the space based on the listener or the player or the viewer, which is in one spot. So how do we do that? This is kind of like a tricky thing to do. And also, I mentioned before, let's say that you have a jail cell or a garden or just a setting. How do I download a bunch of sounds and create a sound field to make the place feel real, and also really adding dimensions into the immersion? So I think this is kind of it in terms of the overall. I'm looking to see if I'm skipping anything. Before I'm opening it to questions, I do want to mention a few things. First of all, is that VRTL has their course about introduction to 360 filmmaking, VR filmmaking, and it's for free right now because of Corona mayhem. We open it for free so you guys can enjoy that, which is awesome. Also, something that I already said, that if you are purchasing the course, you will get a $500 discount on the 8-ball microphone, the quad binaural microphone. But if you are getting the course, you will get you just need to email here 360 and they will send you the plugins. So you can work with the Here 360 even though you won't have the microphone. And just a little note that if you are connected to a school and you would like kind of like a package deal on the course, please feel free to contact either Peter or Neil and the RTL, and they will connect you. Okay, I'm opening it to questions, you guys. It doesn't have to be specifically on spatial sound. If you have a question about VR filmmaking, VR distribution, the market, please feel free. Okay. Reaper has a temp license at the moment. Yes, that is true. I mentioned that. So Reaper does not have a 360 viewer. That is correct. But in Here 360, you have a viewer which works really great. Also, kind of a little better than the Facebook 360 viewer. You can use so when you are installing the Facebook 360 viewer, Facebook 360 workstation, you can dump a video on it. We have a whole video about how to use the video playback. So both Here 360 and Facebook 360 have options, kind of like plugins to see the video while you're mixing. I would encourage you to go with the Here 360 Campus, because you really, when you are mixing, you can move the video and hear the difference, which is a big plus, because usually I would just mix and then I would export. And also kind of like important to say, you want to export, you want to upload it to YouTube and Facebook, and then you want to listen to it on Facebook and YouTube, because the technology is still a little buggy. So you might have differences between the way that you hear it when you're mixing and the way that it's being distributed. So it's important to check it out. Which software used to stabilizing footage? Great question. It's a great question. I am kind of using a little bit of everything, because some of them are failing in different places. Meaning, After Effects is doing a really great job as long as you can see the horizon clear and you can see the floor clear. So sometimes I would stabilize, I would track in, I kind of like, it's not, you're stabilizing and tracking in After Effects. Sometimes I would use Mocha VR for things that are a little bit more complicated. Mocha VR is really great. If you want a promo code to Mocha VR, please feel free to add me on Facebook and all that, and I'll send you a promo code. And yeah, that's kind of it. Sometimes I would track in After Effects, and I will import into Blender if I want to add 3D elements in a high resolution render and kind of like do it from there. Hope it answered the questions. How many channels would you use for Oculus? So Oculus Quest is kind of considered the Oculus. When you are installing Facebook 360, you would have the encoder, which is kind of like a standalone software. You are mixing your mix in either Reaper or Pro Tools or Nuendo, Reaper and Pro Tools mainly. And then you take that file and you are encoding it to the specific format that you need, either if it's YouTube or Facebook. But if it's for the Oculus Quest or Rift, you would have an option over there to do the Oculus Rift. And this is what you should do. Important to say that if you are just wanting to watch a video on Oculus Video, for example, you can encode it to either YouTube or Facebook and it will work fine. But if you want to put it within an app in order to distribute it on the store, you would need it on a MKV format, I believe, which is the Oculus Rift, which you can find when you're in the Facebook encoder. Hope it answered the questions. Would you think about future cinematic VR production? I can tell you that I invest a lot of my free time, and not free time, and money into the future of cinematic VR productions. As I mentioned earlier, I have a Choose Your Own Adventure interactive murder mystery that I developed, which is going to the store this month. And I also filmed a full feature horror film called The Haunted Ride, which all gonna incorporate a lot of, I want to say that like I kind of like took it on myself to like push cinema in VR because I saw the opportunity of it, because I really love the medium and I'm just enthusiastic about it. And I also kind of want to say that it gives an option for distribution very freely without a gatekeeper, meaning let's say that I did a TV series, I still need Netflix or whatever to want to distribute my platform, my thing. In VR, it doesn't work this way. You are creating your app, you're submitting it to the store. Unless it's like something very offensive, you will be on the store and you will be able to monetize of it, which is, for an independent filmmaker, is a big plus. So this is something to keep in mind. I know that VR in China are opening cinema, VR cinema. In the future, we kind of like won't even need spatial sound because we can like have a surround sound and a bunch of people with headsets. So I personally really believe in it. I personally invest a lot in it, and I really hope it will take off. That's all I can say. What about stabilizing HDR footage. It's kind of the same way that we talked about stabilizing. I want to create a 4-channel sound for you. So Premiere will work. Premiere will work, and you can install the Facebook 360 and design within that. It's just, I wouldn't say that it's the professional way to work, because there's a lot of like delicacies and things that you can really get down to the wire within the DAW station in order to do. But let's say that you did a video, you want it to be spatialized, but it's not gonna be like Spielberg level. You can definitely finish the work in Premiere. Be sure that your sequence is ambisonic sequence. So go to New Sequence and then VR Sequence, and then you will see each one of the ambisonics over there. Choose one of them, and you're good to go. I have it recorded on the Insta360 Pro. I'm interested in finding. Well, whomever is looking for a sound engineer, you can talk with me. I can do it for you. But you mentioned the Insta360 Pro. So if you already mentioned that camera, I do want to say that it is supporting spatial sound. They will market that they have spatial sound, and they do. But there are internal fans within the camera that will make a noise. You have a plugin to erase that noise of the fans, but I wouldn't count on it. And this is generally, I don't think that today we have a camera and a spatial sound solution within one camera. Meaning, whatever VR camera that you're using, don't count on the camera to record spatial sound. The Fusion, for example, is recording spatial sound, which is good as a base, as long as it's not windy outside. If you are filming outside, you won't hear anything. So things to keep in mind. When mixing, are you using on... or do you rely on... So great question. If I'm relying on where I place the microphone when I'm mixing in either Facebook 360 or here 360. If I recorded spatial sound, whether if it's with the 8-ball or the Zoom H2N, so technically it's spatialized. So you don't need to spatialize it. You might need to reorient it, meaning that then put the north in the north. If like, I don't know, one was here and you have tools in both Facebook 360 and here 360. I personally would automate with Facebook 360, and here 360 I will use, someone asked about like watching a video while you're mixing. Here 360 is better for that, and you kind of like automating as you do it, because you can like see the direction and you like position the audio file where you see the video. But I would also work a lot, to be honest. I would just have Premiere open and I would have Reaper, and I would see the visual of like where is, let's say that the actor was like standing in the left. So I would like Control Tab, see where it's located in Premiere, and I would locate it on, I position the sound in Facebook 360. It's kind of a workaround, but it saves a lot of time. Important to say about the Facebook 360 workstation, when you're working with a video, you have to put it on a specific codec, which I believe is Apple ProRes, which is a common format, but it's a heavy format. So you need to like digitize all of like the footage that you're working on specifically for that, and it's heavy. And so I kind of like Command T like with Premiere. And again, I would recommend any sound that you're distributing, check how it sounds like on your distribution platform. Meaning, go to Facebook, go to YouTube, listen to it with the headset, move your head around, because some things would not sound exactly the same as it sounded like when you're mixing, simply because it's still a tricky technology. So you want to be sure that your work in the mixing projected in the distribution. Okay. So many questions. My name is Nir. It's okay. It's okay. It's a weird name. Also, I recorded an Insta of a family dinner eating, the camera and the mic in the center. What would be my workflow? So someone is saying that he recorded with the Insta360 and he has a bunch of, you record with the Sennheiser. I believe that you're talking about the spatialized sound mic. So take the camera sound, use it as a sync. So I would do your edits in Premiere. And if for audios that are stereo, mono, or 4-channel, you can export it from Premiere and then kind of like export each track, bring that into your DAW station, whether if it's a Reaper or Pro Tools, and then sync it based on your camera sound and layer it on top of it. My general approach is you would have your spatial sound recorder and you would have spot mics wherever it is that the dialogue is happening. So then take that spot mic and then automate it, position it with either Facebook 360 or here 360 into its location in the panorama, and then export that on 8 channels and encode it with the Facebook 360 encoder to distribution. Again, I hope it helped. It's kind of like on 1 feet, but we have a lot of very detailed videos about it in the course. I do want to emphasize again that we really built the course so anyone can jump in and do the work. I personally did not start from sound engineering. I started as an editor and kind of like went through learning that. And I learned a lot from trial and error. There's the library and the information out there on spatial sound is very, very lacking. So this is exactly the reason why we made that course, and we made it simple and condensed so you can jump in and do the work. Where can you find good 360 transitions? I guess that you're talking about video. There was Mantra VR had a really great 360 plugins. I don't know if they're still selling. I haven't seen them for like 2 years, but I would really recommend them, Mantra. And that's kind of it. Yeah, a lot of it is I'm building manually. If you're creating a VR animation, what software would you recommend? Great question. Thank you, Falavi. So I broke my neck a lot on that, on like, if I'm doing a 3D animation, what software should I use? I tried on Unity. I tried on Cinema 4D, Maya. I think that Blender is the easiest to pick up. And also in Blender, you have in cycle mode just a rendering option. So you just take the camera, tack, ink rectangular, and you export on ink rectangular. Also, a great benefit is that Blender has a rendering farm called Sheepit. Sheep like the animal and it. And it basically allows you to connect the computer to a network of other computers, and you can render that way. Obviously, VR is very heavy in rendering, so I'm using Reaper. It's also free. It's an open source. Sorry, not Reaper, Blender. I'm jumping from one subject to another. So to your answer, Reaper, Blender will be my option for 3D animation. Any books for VR and VR? You have Making 360, which is a book that the startup that I was a part of, I joined after they wrote the book, and they kind of like gave them a lunch. But I don't know if it's very a book thing. Creator App is doing a really great job as a YouTube channel regarding how to make VR videos, but again, it's tutorials. If you want like a really great course, VRTL is here for you. This is what they're for. Do you have any favorite spatial sound mix? Yes. Well, if you'll go to Making XR, this is the YouTube channel that I'm distributing to. Over there, you will find a VR experience inside a real jail in Texas. And it's with spatialized sound, so you can check that out. And also, there is the music video that I made called Fuckboy. If you'll go to YouTube and search for Fuckboy VR, you will find that music video, but with stereo, not with spatial sound. The reason why we did that is because if you're just playing that video and you don't know without earphones in, it will sound very weird. So it's something to know about distributing spatial sound, that we are distributing the this specific music video on Oculus because I know that whomever is going to watch it on Oculus is going to watch it from a headset. But regardless of that, it's kind of like you really want to specify for people who are watching it either on Facebook or on YouTube that this is spatialized sound, and it will also say it when people are playing the video, like, this is spatialized sound, put your earphones. But the minus of it is that if they don't, it will sound really weird. So kind of something to put in account. Can you watch the course videos as many times as would you like? Yes, you can. You get a license and then you can watch it as many times. Again, I really built it in a way to like make it really easy and save you time, because I broke my neck on trial and error. Why is it not working? Why is it not working? And then to just realize that there is like some specific bug that I didn't know about and there is no way to know about because there is nowhere to read it. All I'm saying is that utilize all the time that I spent on figuring out those things and download that course, because this is what the course is about, is giving you the shortcuts to all the things that you need to know, all the things that you wouldn't have any other way to know regardless. So that's that. Does your course contain examples? Yes. A lot of the course is exactly that. Methods of like how to do a moving shot, how to go about putting a sound field together. A lot of the course is about this. I haven't heard about the Zoom H3 VR. I guess it must be super new. I guess it must be super new because I haven't heard of it. But worth checking out. Technically, as long as it's recording on 4 channels or more in either an ambisonic format or quad binaural format, you're good. Quad binaural will be a higher resolution, a higher quality of sound to record on. So generally speaking, if you're looking for a professional mic to record spatialized sound, probably a quad binaural mic will be a safer bet. That have been said, the Zoom H2N is giving a really great result. If there's a Zoom H3 VR, let's give it a try. Specifically, if you show how... Yes, again, you will have a lot of that in the course. How do you deal with common spatial editing and clearing issues? Again, this is a lot of what the course is about. I don't want to get specifically into like how to deal with that in that situation, but you will find examples to any common like work method that you would need, whether if it's like a stationary or if it's moving shot, or also you have demonstrations of like, what do I do if I don't have the budget for a $3,000 microphone and I really want to get a really good work done? So there are working methods as well within the course of like, grab a bunch of iPhones, how to position them, be sure to have the actors not move here or do this. So there's a lot of those like little things that you need to think about and record and think, but you can definitely get the work done even on budget. March 1 format is not really, it was, I remember it popping around 2017 and it didn't really go much. So again, a birth of VR 2016. Another example, you have two main distribution formats. You have the ambisonic and you have Fuma. Jaunt used Fuma because they thought it sounded better and it's more professional, but then Facebook and YouTube adopted the ambisonic format. So Fuma kind of like died since. So March 1 was same thing. I've heard about it. I haven't seen it pop, and I know that all the major distribution channels are not using it. So it's kind of gone, unfortunately. Oh, here is the Zoom. I've seen this guy. Yeah, great. Let's see. It's recording on A and B. It looks really great. Can definitely utilize it. What is the price on it? Yeah, 4 channels. Great thing to use. If you have access to it, go for it. Sure. But that have been said, like, I still think that you can reach a great production level with the Zoom H2N. I'm sure this sound recorder is great. And I did actually see it now looking at it. So yeah. Do you hire a 360 VR editor? Currently, I don't hire anyone. I'm kind of working by myself, and I have 1 or 2 assistants that I'm hiring when I need. But yeah, hopefully we will grow as a store and achieve more. Okay, last question. I'll pick up last question. Do you have a favorite? Here, someone. Where can we see the Haunted movie? The Haunted Ride movie. It's still in post-production. You can look for the trailer. Just search for the Haunted Ride VR or in Making XR YouTube channel, and you can see the trailer. We're still in post-production, and we will be out in the summer. Yeah. So I will conclude over here. Thank you all for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Again, if you have registered to this course, you will get an email with a promo code to the course. If you didn't, so be sure to do that and sign up to the newsletter of VRTL or reach out to either Neil or Peter. I want to remind you again that we have a free course on the introduction to VR filmmaking in VRTL for free regarding all the Corona mayhem. So you can interact with our free course while you're quarantining at home. If you're a part of a school or university, please feel free to reach out to us in VRTL if you would like a package deal on the course. And also, if you are getting the course, you will get the Here 360 plugins for free, and also a $500 discount on the quad binaural mic, the 8-ball. Thank you so much for everyone for tuning in. Please stay safe, and we'll hear back from you soon. Bye, everyone. Thank you.